The number 444 represents archangels who are ready to help you.
Yeah, we could do that. We should probably do the Santino thing. You want to do that? This is big.
Sure.
I've been after this comedian.
We just have so much stuff. I want to do it all.
Get me like his YouTube channel.
Okay.
Because we haven't talked about Andrew Santino in quite some time.
Well, we talked about Cheeseburger. That was
it's special. But I mean, you know, we used to be quite after this guy. I don't understand. I mean, his special was awful. Remember that Cheeseburger special? I don't know why people are putting up with it. His podcast seems to be bigger than ever, right? I don't know if it's because he's in that show, Dave. You know, when you're on TV show, you could trick a lot of people into coming by. I don't know what it is. I thought by now, for sure, everyone would be sick of this guy. Everyone would hate him. And besides his special, he's been rather incidentless on Redbar. But remember when we first started covering him, his big thing with Redbar was that he cheats. Remember?
No,
he lies,
really remember
he cheats.
the details.
But the whole thing was we got so many reports of people saying Andrew Santino cheats on his wife. We couldn't believe it. We find nothing more scummy, more, if you're going to cheat on your wife, you'll cheat anyone. Okay? It's the ultimate lie.
It's your wife.
I would say anybody who's caught cheating, you got to go, well, what else have they lied about? I mean, that's the ultimate big lie, is to do that to someone like that. And we've gotten so many reports of him cheating, but we've never gotten anything concrete. We've had rumors, right? What was there a big one?
I can't remember, but we definitely had like some texts from someone.
Yeah.
I remember a text screenshot where they were claiming something about Santino cheating, or we heard some sort of, this was years ago. This was like back in Chicago.
Remember, a big one was when we were covering Santino years ago, his fans were reporting it to him on Twitter. They go, hey, this guy Redbar is talking all this shit about you in this video, and they linked him, and he goes, we know, report it. Fuck that clown. So he was telling his viewers to report our YouTube videos about him. Now, why would they need to be reported? So that was a big one. And that's where we know, report it. Fuck, do I have that song? Yeah. That was such a good song. Does anyone have a link to that? Report it? Let's see if anything comes up. Does anyone have that song? We know, report it, fuck that clown. Let me type in Santino, see what I got. This is a rather new machine. It's a Apple Studio. Santino Morella. Santino Defense.
I think I got it.
You do? Are you able to play it? No?
It's on YouTube. I sent it to you
in
a text.
YouTube. Okay, let's play that. This is our big theme song, because we got a big Santino bust today. Finally. We got him. Listen to this.
I'll just say Bobby came with some heat in the room because he was psychologically attacked by some online trolls that attacked bad friends.
Andrew Santino put me in a mood. He's screaming and all that stuff.
I just didn't like people talking bad about me.
We know, report it. Fuck that clown. We know, report it. Fuck that clown.
This guy's the worst.
Report it.
Kill him.
Fuck that clown.
Makes me so fucking mad.
Report it. Fuck that clown.
Dude,
by Dave Gibson, right?
Report him. Fuck that clown.
Sometimes I play with my butthole when I jerk off. Spread the legs and tuck it around.
It's a nice little song, but I love that song. So yeah, we've hated Santino for years. We find him to be one of the worst. And remember, we got Brian Redban.
Chester Bennington lie.
Oh yeah, the big Chester Bennington lie. What was that about? That he was in the hotel room when he died, but he wasn't? He was in the same hotel as him when he committed suicide or something?
Yes, but it was actually, what's his name? Chris Cornell. But we call it the Chester Bennington lie.
But he did lie about being in the same hotel that Chris Cornell died at, or something like that. We've caught him a bunch of times.
Xander, listen up, because this is a great new one for your Twitter.
This is a big one. This is the biggest one. We need your help. We need your support tweeting about this. Really getting up in his grill about this one. What was the other? There was one other thing I wanted to mention, a big Santino thing that happened. Oh, we heard from Brian Redban, Joe Rogan's own, or Brian Redban was on his podcast, and they were talking about Redbar, and Redban goes, oh, dude, Santino wants to fly to Chicago and kill this guy. He hates talking about me.
Oh, yeah.
So Redbar said that Santino hates me so much that he was thinking about coming to Chicago, where I used to live, to kill me. That's what Redbar said.
We didn't
for
do
real.
nothing.
So that's pretty good stuff. Santino hates us. He's going to hate us even more after this. Where do I start? Because this all happened this morning. Jules discovered this all. No one else has his scoop. Jules found it this morning.
Now, this is all thanks to my favorite podcast, Canceled.
Canceled.
With Tana Mongeau.
Tana Khan, Tana Biss, Tana, and Brooke.
Best podcast
They've
out
really
there.
started bringing us some good stuff because, Tana from TanaCon, she's got a podcast, and they started hanging out with a few comedians. They were hanging out with Matt Rife for a little bit. They were hanging out with that gross Trevor. What's his
Wallace.
name? Trevor Wallace. Trevi. And they were going to the Comedy Store a bunch, and they've got all these comedian stories because all these comedians are like always trying to hook up with Tana. I guess Tana has sex with a lot of people. She talks about this all the time. She'll have sex with you pretty much. If you're a guy and you meet her and you're hanging out, she'll have sex. That's what she wants to do. So there's been a lot of stories, Trevor Wallace, creepy stuff about him and his little date at his Venice Beach home where he made her watch, what was that?
Pawn Stars.
Pawn Stars. They got into bed and he put on Pawn Stars. And he's like, isn't this show the best? Well, we've got a new one here. What does this have to do with anything? Let's go to how this was discovered. Do you want to start?
So just click the first link. That is the most recent Canceled podcast.
Okay, and this was from, what, 2 days ago? Today? It's just time-coded here, 12720.
That's what you want.
All right, we're pulling it up. Let's do our little investigation here. And it's Tana and Brooke. They look great in costume. They've never looked better than when they're in full costumes. And we're going to 12720. Okay, here it is. Let's find out what happens here. And what does Santino have to do with any of it? Remember, Santino is married. Fully married. They live together. They're not separated. They're not in an open relationship. They're regular married. Let's hear what happens.
Oh my God. How do you feel about him on Dancing with the Stars? Have you watched?
I watched the first episode. I think it's great that he's on Dancing with the Stars.
We already kind of talked.
I'm back in my Harry Jowsey era. I'm waiting for him in my lobby.
Brookie.
I'm just kidding.
I have had a crush on this comedian for like a while now.
I've had a crush on this comedian for like a while now. By the way, this guy in the middle, what's his name?
Omari.
You ain't gonna like him, guys. So Tana says she's got a crush on a comedian. Okay.
I'm just kidding.
I have had a crush on this comedian for like a while now.
Which one?
And
I told Trisha I'm in love with Theo Vaughn, and we talked about it, unfortunately, for way too long.
That's the thing. You cannot we'll graze over shit here. She wants to unpack.
Yeah.
I know. God, I love her. Yeah.
No, it's actually so funny too because yesterday we were there for 6 hours and
Trisha Paytas, Moses.
I don't like inconveniencing people, especially while they're podcasting. So wake up at 10, whatever, and then we go over there, get there at 1:30. We're there for 6 hours. 6 hours, which is fine. I love being at Trisha's house. I have an amazing time there, but they're podcasting for 3.5. So we're sitting in this room and it's getting hot. We're in silence. I felt like I was taking the SAT. And as soon as we get to the glam room, before they even start, my phone dies.
So did you
I was just no, I was just sitting there all day.
I was wondering, I was are we I thought we were so interesting.
No, you guys were interesting though, actually. But I was just sitting there with a dead phone the entire time, and then we get outside as they were leaving, and she's like, will you film something horizontal on your phone? And I was like, Tana, my phone's been dead since we got here. Everyone was like, what? I was like,
okay, wait, I need to actually explain this to you really quickly.
Here we go. Listen to this.
Okay, soon.
Stand-up comedian. Really I've had a big crush on him. We went and saw him at the show with the heckler.
Yes.
Okay, this is important. Keep that in mind. We went to see him at the show with the heckler, so she's not going to name this comedian that she has a crush on. But she does let this one thing slip. We went to see him at the show with the heckler. Okay, listen.
We went and saw him at the show with the heckler.
Yes.
And he has a wife. He does a whole stand-up bit about his wife.
Wait, he has a wife. Does a whole... I have a crush on a comedian. He's got a wife.
Yes.
and he has a wife. He does a whole stand-up bit about his wife.
Wait, what?
Not the heckler, like the stand-up comedian. I didn't I thought he was cute, and then I found out he had a wife, and then I was like, oh, whatever.
Okay.
And whenever I post like my hair different colors, like people just come out of the woodworks. I feel like some guys are just not into blonde.
Okay, so a couple weeks ago, she had brown hair, right? She was wearing a wig.
Yes.
Okay. So she said she posted a picture of herself with the different color hair on Instagram.
Whenever I post like my hair different colors, like people just come out of the woodworks. I feel like some guys are just not into blonde. So if I post,
that's what happened to me when I dyed my hair. All of a sudden, like literally the polar opposite guys were interested in me.
And it's so hurtful too, because like sometimes it'll be like my crushes being like, "You've never looked better," like, and then I'm like,
the heckler.
The heckler did say that to me.
And she debated, literally like rose out of bed and she was like, Amari, I'm going to the hair shop tomorrow. Like we're going to get box dye if we have to.
But this comedian just slid in my DM saying on your brunette shit. And then like, how are you? And like all this shit. And I'm like, don't you have a wife?
Maybe he...
Oh my God, Ice Spice.
This comedian slid into my DMs. What did he say here? Let's hear that one more time.
If we have to.
But this comedian just slid in my DM saying on your brunette shit. And then like, how are you? And like all this shit. And I'm like, don't you have a wife?
Maybe he...
Oh my God, Ice Spice just asked where the party is.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Okay. Go ahead. I'm joking.
So I hear this.
Yeah.
And I had a little memory tingle. We actually, I think, watched this podcast on the show.
Okay,
the
so you
episode
hear
where
this?
Tana interviews Whitney.
Yes. Okay, so we're going to go to that next podcast, right?
So she said it was a comedian that she saw on a night where she went to a comedy show with a heckler, a guy who ended up heckling the show.
So we're going to go back in time. Yeah, she was doing a podcast with Whitney about a month back, right?
Yeah.
Couple months. Okay, what time are we going here?
1:13:15.
1:13:15. Okay, let's see what happens here. There's Whitney looking nice.
Didn't know him from him being super famous. Like I can,
No. He's totally an icon. She doesn't know if he was funny or not because she was texting the whole time.
Oh wow.
No, there was just a couple jokes in where I was like, oh.
Where are you at the Comedy Store?
Where were we?
We were text me and to ask me what were you seeing a friend?
We were at the store. Yeah.
Well, we ended up seeing Andrew Santino. Is that his name? He's on.
He's my buddy.
Yeah, he was on Dave, and I didn't know he did stand up until that night, and he was so fucking funny.
Yeah, he's great.
He was incredible. Do you know that? Should we just break this story now?
The heckler?
It's bad. Yeah, like
The heckler?
We went with this guy.
So you went to see a comedian. On the other podcast, she forgets that she told this story.
Yep.
That they went to see Andrew Santino, and that was the show with the heckler. So on the new podcast, she's talking about Santino.
I know.
The heckler?
It's bad. Yeah, like we went with this guy.
Is there any more here?
I've always thought this guy was like
a story about how they went to a show with a guy and he ended up heckling the show.
Okay.
But on this new episode, she goes, it was the guy that we went to see the night we went with the heckler.
Wow.
But she forgot. She told Whitney that was Santino's show. So
there it is.
outed him.
Andrew Santino sliding into Tana's DMs. What up, girl?
Nice hair.
So we're going to do this in traditional fashion with a phrase called tell everybody. Send it out everywhere. Tell everybody what you've heard here today. And we'll see what happens, right? He should get the check. Thank you, Tana.
Yeah.
Knock, knock. Just ugly. Who's there?
A murderer.
Murderer who?
Let's kill Logic's kid. Logic baby ugly.